go.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we're here for our Zoom. Are we going to Zoom today? And we're gonna let everyone speak. Yeah. This is I'm of course Shannon, and this is Pearl, my 22-and-a-half-year-old soul bird. He likes to Zoom with me. He likes to do everything with me.
22 and a half.
He's 22 and a half.
In human years?
No, yeah, in human years. Yeah, in bird years. I actually was trying to calculate that the other day, because baby birds grow up so quickly that, like, for him, he's like in like probably might be like double what he, in bird years, like he would, the equivalent in human years is he might be 40 maybe, or 40, 45. Yeah. So he's just, they can live for easily into their mid-30s. So he is going to, yeah, I feel really lucky to have kind of he's my soul bird. He's my avian, the love of my life. So yeah.
And how long? So you had him for 22 years?
Since he was a 5-week-old chick.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He's my love. He's my love. He's the inspiration for really everything I'm doing now. He's been my muse and my inspiration for all of it, haven't you? Yeah, and you just want to chew my necklace. He doesn't take any of it very seriously.
Oh my God. What's his name again?
Huh? Pearl.
What? Pearl?
He's Pearl. Yeah.
Oh my God. Can I just make a quick introduction of what I do know about you, and I want to like find out so much more.
Of course.
So
of course.
Shannon Cutts has, well, I am a recovered survivor of anorexia. About almost 10 years ago, maybe 9 years ago, I was in the hospital. And when I was in my recovery, I was looking all over the internet to find help. And there was a website called MentorConnectEd that connected us, people who were just starting their the recovery journey, with people who are way ahead of us and are fine and living life and have been where we are at. And I connected with a mentor, and we were in touch for a while, and it was really nice. And the founder of MentorConnectEd was Shannon Cutts. And I've always known that name because I went on the website so many times, and I was like, wow, that woman, like she wrote a book, this like amazing, incredible person that's like shifted worlds and made a difference for so many people and created this company. And here I am, like 8 years later, doing my PhD in Edinburgh, starting my music journey, and I'm an ambassador for a UK organization for eating disorders, and called Beats. And and one of my colleagues connected me with a father, and I'm talking to the father, and I'm like, oh, there are different websites. And I'm like, I know MentorConnectEd has stopped working, but I want to see what resources they have. And I look, and I see a picture of Shannon with a bird. And I'm like, let's check her social media. And like, your entire social media is like this like incredible like animal person. And then I'm like, she's on Spotify. And I look up her music, and there's like a few songs I just listen to over and over and over and over. And I'm like, she's like everything I want to be. Like completely shifted, and changed worlds, been huge out there, and then like just doing what she loves, and living her life with animals and expressing through music. And I'm like, oh my God, maybe I could interview her at a Posse Fest. And you're like, yes. And then you wrote something so beautiful to me on the email, and I was like mind blown. So I just want to hear about like your journey before, after, anything you have to share, because Posse Fest is this platform where we just share things that could be helpful for people, and you are just a role model of helpful for people, helpful for yourself, I just want to hear about your journey.
Remember what we said about letting everyone talk? Hmm? So thank you so much, because the way that I perceive it is you're doing it too. Like you're a soul sister to me, and that has been the inspiration behind, I know, everything that I do has been fueled by mentoring. And in the sense of, I view myself as a lifelong student and a lifelong mentee. And sure, there have been wonderful moments when I've been able to pay it forward and pass along the wisdom that I've learned. But the teachers that I admire the most are the students who are continually learning and are so humble and are I have 4 or 5 different primary mentors and teachers in my life right now, and that are helping me with different facets of my growth and expansion. And they're learning all the time, and so what they're teaching is evolving all the time. And often, the way that they express it is, I'm just a couple of steps ahead of you, because whatever it is that we most need to learn, sometimes one of the best ways to learn it is to begin to teach out of what we've already learned. Not only does it feel really good, whether it's with eating disorders or through music or multimedia, like some of the things that I've seen on your own website, just really just finding creative ways to pull together. Okay, well, maybe I'm not ready to teach this yet, but I can teach that. And we just kind of hand by hand, we kind of pull one another along, and so for me, the eating disorder started so early. I was 10, right between 10 and 11 when I kind of hit puberty. And just, of course, my book Beating Anna, which is now lightly out of print, unless you are a real Amazon sleuth, I promise you can still find it. You can find pretty much anything on Amazon. So I challenge you not to find a copy. How about that? But that book really, talks a lot about how how mentors helped me. I'm sorry that you know what, he's such an interactive Zoomer. That book really talks about how mentors helped me kind of find the switch that would unlock my inner brave and realize that everybody has something. And at that point, it really, when I was struggling, it was back in the early 80s, the 90s. Eating disorders weren't even a thing yet. They weren't even in the diagnostic standards manual yet. So
Wow.
I didn't understand what I had.
Oh my
Nobody
God.
else really understood what I had. And the good news about that is that I finally found a mentor who really didn't care what I had. She was like, look, I can tell that you're struggling. You're struggling. I don't really understand exactly what your fears are around food and eating and your body, but I do know exactly what it's like to struggle. And I know that I've struggled with some really tough stuff in my life, and if I could overcome that, you can overcome this, and I'll help you. I'm going to be your supporter. I believe you can do it because I see you in there, and that's the key component of a mentor. Because the thing is, and this is what I taught for so many years through Mentor Connect and Beating Anna, and the work that I did as a mentor, and the work that we train our mentors to do through Mentor Connect, is it's so important to choose a mentor who can see the real you, because there are mentors everywhere in our society. And that's why I love what you're doing so much, because there's mentors in the media, there's mentors on television, there's mentors in books, and it's like, okay, let's find the positive spin with all of this. Social media and streaming video and YouTube and all of this they tend to get a bad rap, but there's a lot of power there, and
Yeah.
it's about because I'm just trying to think how to like soundbite this. when we're struggling really, really hard with something, it's often hard for us to see our inner brave. It's hard for us to see anything but the struggle, right? Because it's just intense and it's huge and it's monumental. And so that mentor's primary function is to look at that struggling mentee and say, I see you in there. And that is what my first mentor did for me. Before I ever even knew mentoring or sponsoring or any of the mechanics that are out there, the available channels for people in recovery from this, that, and everything else, before I even knew such a thing really existed, she gave me that gift and set me on my life path, which really the freedom that I gained through being mentored and then through the decade or so that we worked through MentorConnect is I realized it just really doesn't matter in a sense what you have. It's about recognizing that because we all have something, and that's a shared experience, and we all know what it's like to struggle, and we all know how good it feels to struggle back and to go, okay, fine, you look insurmountable, you look, you know, unrecoverable, but I got time, I got nothing but time, so I might as well prove you wrong. I might as well. But my whole recovery journey shifted when I realized I had gotten very good at being sick. I was a really, really good anorexic and bulimic. What if I took all of that energy and all of that passion and all of that determination and I turned it around and pointed it at my recovery goals? In theory, at least, it would be a worthwhile argument to say I might be as good at recovery, if not better. And because I was pretty miserable at that point, I was like, and I'd like to feel better. And the more my mentor encouraged me, and then later other mentors that I've had, the more I realized, I have to spend 24/7 in my own company. It would be beyond awesome if I was fun to hang out with. If I, went somewhere alone and knew that I had a friend with me walking into that room full of strangers, which I had to do so many times as we were launching MentorConnect. And I'm sure you saw some of that in some of our press releases and our limited whatever we were trying to do on social media at the time, and just the communications that we had, as there was constant walking into rooms full of strangers who didn't really believe in what we were doing. And some were outright opponents.
To
And just
MentorConnectEd.
because, and there were, there are all the usual fears. Well, what if it's not perfect? Or what if the mentor relapses? Well, what if,
Wow.
what if it doesn't work? And my argument was always, is it perfect? No. Is it better than, nothing? Yes. Is it more than what the recovering person has now? Yes. Are you able to be with your client, your patient, at 3 a.m. are willing and able? Wouldn't you like to know there was some place they could go, whether perfect or imperfect or somewhere in between, that they could have, that is ultimately, fundamentally is structured to be a positive, safe space? And then, so it was about exactly what I see you doing with PosiFest and your music and your messages. It's about, looking at the big picture and then picking out the good stuff and going, yeah, we could, gloom and doom kind of feels like, earthy and important, but it doesn't feel good. So wouldn't you like to feel good if you have a choice? But it takes the thing is with recovery too, is it takes a while to build up that preference. When we're in the depths of recovering from something, from anything, I always used to use the analogy of the four wheels of the car. Maybe that's because I failed my first driving test. I don't know. But the beingness, the allness of who we are as individual human beings. We've got a body, we've got a mind, we've got, heart and emotions, and we've got some sort of connectedness, whether you choose to call it spirit or soul or what are the divine, God, nature, whatever it is. So we've got these four wheels, you
Yeah.
know, and it takes it's if you're doing it properly, it's really a full-time job to manage a human being, to manage and to be a human being. All those four wheels have to kind of be pointing in the same direction. And it's hard, especially when the body chemistry gets mixed up. If you're struggling with cancer, you're dealing with probably the chemo drugs and or the radiation and the impact and all the other things that they have to give you. If you're struggling with an eating disorder, you're seesawing, you try to achieve some kind of physical stability, and you balance your electrolytes and renourish your body. I mean, so there's a brain chemistry, there's your body that's healing, then there's your emotions, and they're all interconnected, right? So if your body chemistry is off, your brain chemistry off, maybe your emotions aren't going to be so great. And so it takes time, and it's about just kind of consciously choosing deliberately. I'm going to kind of almost, force feed myself these, that's not the right word to use, but just kind of make a deliberate, conscious choice to seek out positive people, positive images, not blow sunshine up the unicorns, but just something that feels a little better than how I'm feeling right now. And that's actually how I got from, the mistress of gloom and doom to where I am today. I used to wear all black, nothing wrong with that, but it was, it was a conscious choice in the sense that I didn't feel like I could identify with any of the other colors of life,
I can
and
see now the colors in your hair also. I see purple.
oh, now I'm full of color. Of course, you inspired
Oh.
all of this craziness today. So,
Oh my God.
and for me, even moving through what I call the kind of the mentor connect phase of my life was, that was a really hard period for me because I identified as recovered during that time, but I didn't know. Talk about somebody who's only can teach so far ahead. I didn't know how much I still had to learn about recovery, because there's a certain component of recovery where you're kind of aiming to get your car in basic working order. You've had your oil changed, the gas tank's full, the tires are aired up, everything's been lubricated and repaired, minor tweaks, the windshield's clear, that sort of thing. Especially with something like an eating disorder. But then there's the building of the life, because that eating disorder, as you and I both know, takes a tremendous amount of time and energy on every level. And there isn't time or energy to do much living. There's just not much left. And when you take that, that's I feel a big part of the issue with anyone who's struggling with something big, making that choice to recover from whatever it is. And I truly do believe we all make a choice, that now, especially now that we know that eating disorders, like many other diseases, have a genetic component, and they have been very wildly misunderstood up until the last several years, when pioneers like Dr. Walter Kay, who was one of our Mentor Connect partners, have really gone the distance using modern technology and science to understand how our brain chemistry is different. So it's like kind of making a choice to be like, okay, I was born broken, versus, I'm gonna freaking fix this because I want to have a happy life. I want to feel good. I want to do things. I want to see things. I want to connect with people and animals and experience this wonderful world. And I want that. Like, I'm still here, so I've still got time. So I want that, but it takes a period of time to go through that. And Mentor Connect was still a very grungy phase for me. I've never actually talked about it. To be honest, I don't think that anybody's ever asked me to talk about it. Because sometimes when you do something like that, that does upend the existing field, the way that MentorConnect did, to really kind of put mentors on the map as a valued and valuable resource, and give people who are in recovery at some kind of sustained level a place to serve that is, that doesn't require going through. I mean, I met so many people who were on track to do dietitian work or nutritionist work or alternative healing arts, or a yoga teacher, or a therapist, or a psychiatrist, because they wanted to give back out of what they had personally experienced. And there was no other avenue for that. Mentor
Mm.
changed that with our white paper, with our partnership with Texas A&M, and the publication and the endorsement from Dr. Walter Kay and his group at the UC San Diego. That changed. The whole industry has changed, which is why there's a lot more mentoring resources today, which is why when we closed, it was kind of like, okay, this sucks. And yet it doesn't, because I'm seeing lots and lots of interest now. And there are lots of people who are able to give in a way that feels fully authentic, rather having to kind of shoehorn it into the, some kind of the medical field, and are constantly being told, the one thing you must never, ever, ever, ever do with your clients is ever tell them that you've had an eating disorder. Don't do that. And it's like, that's the whole point. There was no way to let it out. And I truly believe that these experiences, we all have something, experiences are here to teach us. And they're here how to teach us how to teach. And so, that was still a very grungy period for me. I was fueled by anger. I was angry because I have family who's recovered from cancer, and they're eagerly welcomed at cancer survivor support groups to share their story. Nobody would ever dream of telling my dear relatives who have, are in remission from cancer, well, we don't want you to share your personal story at the cancer recovery support group, because what if you relapse? What's that going to do to the people? Are they going to think they're all going to die? But that's what I was being told. Oh,
Wow.
we don't want mentors. What if they relapse? And it's like, well, then that's a teachable moment too, isn't it? And so it's really just about, it wasn't really about trying to buck the system or trying to make a change, at any kind of exterior level. It was about me setting myself up for success in anything I wanted to do. MentorConnect burned me to a crisp. I was so burned out when we finally shut down. But the industry was already changing, and that was super cool. And that was what woke me up. Right in between there, and kind of the last few years of MentorConnect, I started a little blog. I hired a life coach because I walked in and I was like, look, this is my life. This is MentorConnect, and this is all the rest of it. And I really am gonna, I'm fried. Like, what am I gonna do to change this? Because I feel stuck, And so one day I came in and I said, I just want to start a blog about my parrot. Like, my parrot just makes me so happy. My parrot is just so fun and makes me laugh all the time. It's very different than being bombarded daily by these stories of people that just, if your heart isn't broken when you wake up, it will be by the time you go to sleep, because there's so much pain and suffering. And I was just, I was drowning in it. And I just didn't, today, if I tried to do something like that, well, first of all, I probably wouldn't try, but because we try the things that we don't know how hard they're going to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
That could be a really good thing. And in this case it was, but it also may not be sustainable for a person's lifetime. And what I found out is that there's another way. There's another avenue where my particular unique blend of life experience and professional experience can be very useful. And it was a facet of MentorConnect all along that I wanted to give more time and attention to, and I just didn't know how. But we actually started a little group for people to talk about their pets. And what I noticed, this was the seed, what I noticed is when our mentees, and even some of our newer mentors, would talk about their animals, they would just glow. And it was like, oh, and my dog, my cat, my bird, my llama. We had one gal who had alpacas. I had never heard of an alpaca. It was like, oh, that's like, is it a llama? No, it's an alpaca. And they're so sweet and loving. They're like dogs, or lambs. And it's like, suddenly they felt unconditionally loved. And it was an interesting exercise to try to talk with these people who were sharing this. All of a sudden they could see so much good in themselves. They could see themselves through their animals' eyes, and they could see, when we look into the eyes of a little baby or an animal, for me, I truly believe we look right into the essence of all that is. The brightest light in the universe is right there. And so that's the direction ultimately that I have gone, is I'm working directly with human and what I call human animal, and non-human animal teams. First through Love and Feathers and now Shells, because I have a rescued box turtle and also a young red-footed tortoise as well. But I am also in the early stages of launching Animal Love Languages, which is my animal communication outreach. So by August, I will be a certified animal communicator, but I'm already doing that work. And it's been phenomenal, because animals are some of our most powerful teachers and helpers and spirit guides, and our planet is in crisis. So, this whole where do we go? This whole pandemic experience has really shifted, I believe, our consciousness. It's still in the early stages, but when some of the kind of the first world entertainment options just were suddenly off limits to us. We couldn't go to clubs, we couldn't go to bars, we couldn't go to restaurants, we couldn't go to the mall, we couldn't do any of these first world things that keep us disconnected from nature. I mean, who needs a pet? I have, this is my pet.
Or the Tamagotchi. Yes.
Pet, and I can dress it up and give it little cute accessories, and and it's like,
it doesn't have the eyes.
Yeah, so the only place we could go was outside, like and it's and back to nature. And I mean, suddenly golfing was like the hot sport, because in my other life I'm a pet blogger and also a people blogger, and I was actually writing an article for a golf course client at the time, and it was like, wow, suddenly it's like golfing is up like 75%. Everybody's going to the golf course,
Wow.
And I feel like it's really woken us up, and pet ownership is going nutso. Like people are, especially small, small pets like reptiles and pocket pets and birds and things like that. And it's because
I'm thinking I should get a pet.
yeah, we don't go, many people work in jobs that are kind of more what I call jobby jobs, because maybe their priority is jobby job is kind of like a job that you use it to pay your bills and fuel your real dreams.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's absolutely, in fact, that's admirable. But the thing is it's easy to forget that when we get off work, most of us don't run back to the office. We go to the park. We go to the art gallery. We go to the museum. We go to a concert. We go to the movie. We crave creativity, and nature is the most creative life force on the planet. And I truly believe it's where all creators get their most powerful inspiration. And because nature is the best artist, and it's the most sincere, and it's the most pure, and it's
all your senses are engaged. There's the visual, there's like you feel the wind and what?
It's why I love what you're doing, because it is so multisensory, and we learn in different ways. Some of us are visual, some of us are auditory learners, some of us are more sensory, and it's like, and nature has all of that. And being connected with, for some people, it's not even animals, it's plants.
Oh my God. The first part of my name is a plant that my dad did his research on. Yeah, if it was daytime, I could show you our garden. My dad's a botanist, but he loves plants. Yeah.
That's not Shalhavit is it a genus or a species or
a species? I think. Well, that's the Hebrew name. The English name is Flamos. It's a yellow flower. It looks like a flame. And yeah, it grows in like very extreme conditions, but that's what he studied in his PhD. But Shalhavid is like a flame in Hebrew.
That is so beautiful. See, there you go, right there. You know, I
So
follow
connecting
folks.
to nature.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
follow some folks on social media that are, you know, they're all about their houseplants. And I mean, I'll admit during the pandemic, my little houseplant habit kind of got out of control. There's about 35 houseplants in here right now, and I live in a place the size of a garage. So, you know, but it's just there's been so much of that. There are so many people that now that are posting on social media all about their plants and about their animals, and you know, it's a very meaningful, and people really feeling in their heart that I lost one of my best friends in December, and unexpectedly, not from coronavirus. And her mother used to always tell her, talk to your plants, they grow better. And so I started doing it. Well, there are several struggling houseplants in this little casa that are doing a lot better. And
Wow.
you know, so it's like the spirit of all is, and this is going to sound so woo, but I truly believe the spirit of all is unconditional love and care, noticing, our attention and noticing. And it's like this tiny little green being, or this new, my mom and I rescued a baby mockingbird last weekend, and you know, this precious fragile little soul. It's like just taking the time and having the care to notice. That's the beginning, that's the seed of unconditional love. And that's what, out of all of the pain and suffering that this last year or so has brought to us, it's also brought us the beginning of that attention and that noticing and that realizing, wait a minute, if this is where we go to replenish and restore, if this is what we're working at those jobs for, to save all that money, to go on vacation, to see something amazing, to experience this with our families, maybe we need to start thinking more about communicating, start opening up a two-way dialogue, learning how to live together, learning how to work together, because there's no exchange policy. There's no, you know, we can't get a replacement planet.
Yeah.
And as interesting and phenomenal as the journey to Mars looks like, I mean, I think we're fairly certain that that's not particularly green or habitable, you know, so it's not really like it's just, we can do it. We can do it. And it starts, but it doesn't start with these big, I don't know about you, but I get overwhelmed
Me
with
too.
the big social media campaigns, you know, about how the planet's in crisis. And it's like, I can't even figure out how to have a plastic-free kitchen, because, you know, I order batteries off the internet and they come, and not only is the whole thing wrapped in plastic, but then there's like little batteries. Each 2-pack is also wrapped in a tiny little plastic. And it's like, this is getting ridiculous. So I feel overwhelmed. So I have chosen, you know, let's start where we can. I'll be someone who can facilitate building that initial seed of attention. And that starts the same place it started with MentorConnect. It starts between the human and their beloved animal or plant or tree or whatever it is. It
What do you
starts there, and that's where we start to wake up.
so what do you
So
do?
my role will be to kind of be the channel, you know, and that's what I've been working on. It's what I've been studying.
So is it like a service? It's like a social platform?
It's all of that, and more to be revealed, because we're still in the very early stages. However, you know, I will be a certified animal communicator. Right now, I'm a student. I'm an apprentice, if you will. So I've been doing a lot of volunteer communications, facilitating, you know, connections between people and their animals, and that's so rewarding. And then also, you know, there's the ultimate vision to have more of a group experience and kind of a, you know, a tribe of people who are interested in these things, and you know, create kind of a community for, you know, that isn't just about people who are serious about becoming, you know, who want to take the student. Again, it's the same kind of deal, you know, where not everybody wants to become an animal communicator. but everyone wants to be acknowledged for that deep sensing and awareness that we're all connected. And how can I just bring more of that into and do small things, you know, to make my animals' life better, make the life of the planet better and more sustainable, you know? And so again, this is very early stages, so don't hold me to it, you know, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. And just creating more of an awareness between animals and nature and people to kind of wake up and go, wait a minute, we're all equally conscious here. We're all equally sentient. We're all equally aware. We're all equally capable of feeling pleasure and pain, you know, and let's, and we're all impacting each other in so many ways, on so many levels, each and every day. What kind of legacy do I want to create now? It's not really about legacy leaving anymore. It's about legacy creating right now, you know?
And how could
today, you know?
How could people find out more? Is it following you on Instagram, Facebook? Is there a website?
Well, we have, you know, our Instagram is where I kind of hang out the most these days, because I apparently am not quite intelligent enough to figure out Facebook's ever-changing algorithm. So you can definitely get to me on Facebook. Love and Feathers and Shells is us everywhere. We're on all the social platforms, except I think on YouTube we're SM Cuts, because that I had to choose a handle back in 1990, and it's stuck. So, and that's where all the music, the sound file. So, because I have an artist channel over there. So go over there and make my little YouTube happy by subscribing, and we can. It's so long.
I definitely subscribed. I was listening to your music over and over and over.
To your heart's content, totally free. They're all over there.
When did you start your music journey?
That was the earliest. You know, I come from a musical family. So
really?
Yeah, so we were a bluegrass family. I was taking piano at age, I was like 8, I think, when I started piano, and I started mandolin at 10 and became a songwriter right and around in there. And just, you know, we had a family band, we performed. Then I kind of branched out into jazz and then into pop later on, and, you know, found a producer, and we created some really cool albums, which is mostly what you'll hear. You're not gonna hear any clips from my bluegrass mandolin days on YouTube.
Yeah, they're like pop, electronic almost.
Yeah. So the newest pieces, there's a really cool song that I did in partnership with a new nature centric app called Mammals, and that's actually MAMMALZ, not S. Called You Can Change the World. And we did a collaborative music video with, I'm gonna say 11 or 12, and I can't remember if that includes me or not, different nature live streamers and videographers and producers and creators. And so you can find that on YouTube. It's a really beautiful and moving kind of, you know, wake up and smell the planets sort of video. And that was kind of one of my proudest achievements, because I felt a lot like it was similar to what I see you doing, in that we're bringing together, you know, I like to work in that milieu where there's several different people all contributing and editing and all the things. I mean, we all can do one thing, right? But we can't do all of it.
Yeah.
And so it's really nice to pool people's talents together. So that was probably like the epitome. That song I actually learned how to use GarageBand and produced it myself, and I'm still extremely proud of myself and not sure how I did it, because it was very
that's incredible.
So it was very, so if I could do it, you can do it. Anybody can do it. Anybody who's inspired. I actually, because I don't even own an instrument anymore. Like, it's been that long. And so I actually went on to the internet and Googled how to use GarageBand when you don't have any instruments. And I started watching videos that people made. And that literally was like how I learned, because I don't own any instruments anymore. I don't own any
Wow, so
microphones.
You Can Change the World was made by you 100% in Garageband.
Garageband. Yay, Apple.
Wow. Okay, everybody, check out Shannon on Spotify and on YouTube. I forgot what was the song that I couldn't stop listening to. It was about a month ago. But yeah, I just
Post your favorite link under the liner notes. Post the song that you like, that is your
okay.
favorite.
Yeah, and I'll post some of your social media as well.
Yeah.
There
We're on
is
Instagram all the time. So
amazing. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. You know, yeah, I'm just really moved and just by who you are and your journey. And I hear that like the Mentor Connect, like it made a difference to so many people. And I get that it really took something for you to create it. And you're the person that made that difference. And I get that the end was painful and it made a huge difference. And like you said, it opened up. So really thank you for that. And it's just cool. I think for me as a survivor of anorexia, like when I started my recovery journey, I was like, does that mean that all my life is going to be focused on only eating disorder surviving and overcoming? And then, and you did such a huge, massive shift in the eating disorder world. Like every hospital and eating disorder unit I was in, Beating Anna, your book was brought up. So like you were like, right? And the fact that you're just like, I love animals and connecting with animals and changing the world and the environment and plants and it's just so moving. And music, I didn't even know that it was before, but that was just, yeah, it's just super inspiring for me to see that. And we have a question that we ask all people that we bring on Posy Fest, because that's like the touchy-feely one. Well, it's just kind of like that moment where we all get real and people could really connect with us. And it's kind of like looking back, what would be your advice for yourself? It could
How
be
far back am I looking?
it could be looking back in the past week, or it could be looking back on whatever years, or
yeah. You know, what comes up in me is, hey, Shannon, it's your life, it's your choice. Exactly what you just said, that, some things will stay with us forever. I have kept company with parrots and turtles since I was 8. I've been in and out of music since I was 8. I've been interested in what I can see with other senses and not just my physical eyes since I was a little tiny girl. Those things maybe are themes that run through my life, but how I choose to apply them and how I choose to experience and express them, all of that is subject to change at any time. So it's your life. Whoever is out there right now listening that needs to hear this message, maybe you're feeling pressure from somebody or some entity. Maybe you're feeling boxed in. Maybe you're feeling like, influenced by someone who says, oh, that's not possible. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, that's woo. Well, you know what? There are those of us on this planet who love that stuff. If it's crazy, if it's impossible, if it's too woo, we're all over it. So it's your life. It's your choice. Here's what I do. I ask myself, and this is going to sound grim and it's not meant to. Just look at my rainbow headband while you listen to me say this. When I'm 80, 90, 100, 110, wherever it's going to be, and I'm on my deathbed, am I going to regret not trying this? If the answer is yes, I need to give it some more of my time and my headspace and my heart space. And I need to think about whether I want to, make sure that I at least give it a go before I can't. And what that means for me is when I decided I wanted to make that shift, that migration, if you will, from working with folks who were directly recovering, to morphing into reaching people who are hurting in their hearts on a wider scale, using a different medium, it wasn't like I changed the essence of who I am or what I love or what I care about. And, because I have chosen my mentors so carefully, I think what Brene Brown says is so brilliant about, don't listen to anybody if they're not in the arena with you duking it out. Like if you don't see evidence in their own life, and if they haven't taken the time to get to know you, it's okay to just say, okay, that's not, if you don't, my mentor always used to say, I'm trying to find the right analogy. She would say, what happens to a boomerang if someone throws it at you and you don't catch it? Well, the nature of a boomerang is it's going to turn back and return to sender. So if somebody throws you the boomerang of doubt or oh, that's too hard, or oh, that's crazy, or well, I don't think so. I had a lot of people tell me, I don't think so. Wasn't exactly a stark raving success during the eating disorder years. Let that boomerang go back to them. You do you, because you is what this world needs. And that sounds super cliche and trite, but the simple truth is that if there are no two blades of grass or snowflakes that are exactly alike, there is absolutely, you are unrepeatable, you are irreplaceable, and there is nobody else who can do exactly what you can do. And this is not original to me. This comes directly through me from my treasured mentors, who are constantly reaffirming these very things to me. And that's why it's so important. Sit down right now and write out a list of five people or entities or causes or organizations that you feel are your primary mentors. Who gets space in your head? Who are you following on social media? Where are you spending your mental and emotional and physical energy? And how does that make you feel? How do you want to feel?
Writing it down.
There's a gap between those two, then it's time to find some new mentors, because either you choose your mentors or the world will choose them for you. And you're probably not going to like the result. You have so much, the people, and they don't have to be people they can be people you've never met. They can be people that aren't even alive in a physical form right now. If Stephen Hawking is your ultimate, that's fine. He's your mentor. It doesn't matter if Mother Teresa is the ultimate expression of what it means to be a human being. That's fine. She's at the top of your list. You make that list, and then you set your day up so that these are the voices that you're constantly hearing in your head. These are your favorites in your social feed. Systematically start to cut out all the naysayers, all the doubt and the doom and gloomers. They don't have any place in your head. And when you shift who you give your time and your energy and your attention to, your sense of who you are and what is possible and how and your worth is going to start to shift too. And it has to be done this way. So that's your homework.
Thank you so much.
Know how it goes.
I will. I will
Yeah.
definitely follow up. Oh my God, this is such a huge gift. I'm so just moved and honored and inspired. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you as well, because it really warms my heart. I don't get a lot of feedback from MentorConnect, especially now that I'm in, kind of what is perceived as being a completely different track. And it's really, it really means a lot to me, and it's very appreciated. All endings can be kind of painful, but
especially if there's such a huge thing that made a difference to people.
Yeah, but I mean, all endings are painful. That's just the nature of endings, because there's kind of like, there's this shift that's happening, and it's kind of like super uncomfortable. I mean, we might call it pain, we might call it discomfort.
And reading Anna is still helping people today.
Well, that's good to hear. Somebody's buying those Amazon copies. I think the ebook is still, and if anybody's out there who's listening and you just simply cannot find it anywhere, I can certainly, scrounge up at least a copy of the ebook. I happen to have those files. So
Wow.
just, you know where to
And
find
it's in the
them.
library at the Multi-Service Eating Disorder Association.
Yeah, a lot of libraries have a copy. That is a great, and check for the e-copy too. That's a great resource.
And libraries would have me.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Excellent.
You are such a blessing. Oh my God. Well, I will send you my list.
Thank you for love and light and plenty of sequins.
Oh my God.
We love it. We love it. We love it.
You are by far one of my role models. So thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Pearl.
Fans, my love. Yeah, he says, okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Well, bye for now. It was a privilege and an honor, and I look forward to continuing to follow all of your great, good work.
Thank you.